When I first heard that Dave was being awarded the Strong Leader Award, I started thinking about what characteristics Dave had that made him a good candidate for this. And I thought about the respect that he has of everyone. He's fair with everyone. The integrity that Dave has. Vision. He can see a problem and understands what to do with it. But what's important to me and what stands out, I think, is his dedication. Everything that Dave has done, he has done with a lot of commitment, a lot of longevity, dedication. Dave always had one particular seat that he sat in, and in the mid-'80s there was a dentist and his wife that attended the games. They were about 70, 80 years old, elderly, and Dave gave up his seat, let them sit in those seats for 5, 6, 7 years. But he always saved them a seat because they were a little bit slower and weren't able to move quite as fast. With regards to his seat, several years ago, someone able to wiggle their way in, got in a little bit earlier than Dave was able to get in, and just happened to pick his seat, the one he always sat in. And Dave came in and he couldn't understand why someone was able to get his seat, and he almost missed the game because he went over and sat in the corner and pouted, just didn't want to accept that. Back in March of this year, Dave was recognized by the Florida High School Activities Association for attending the state basketball finals for 50 consecutive years. Not only did he attend for 50 consecutive years, he attended every game for 50 consecutive years. Everyone is aware of his coaching in this area for 45 years coaching, and in doing that, he's affected and touched the lives of a lot of young men, both on and off the basketball court.
My name's Coach Gary Meyer. I've coached with Coach Dave for 30 years, three different high schools. It's important when we play on the road, it's important that we know what type of locker room that we're going to have, because it's important. One of the pregame things we do, we go in and we write down our defensive assignments, our offensive assignments, our matchups, our any motivational things that we need to talk about, kind of diagram our offenses a little bit. But it's important we have a good board, a good dry erase board, a chalkboard. Well, as you go through the years, you know most of the high schools, you don't worry about it too much. You know when you need to bring something and when you don't. So we're going down to Lake Wales one night, and they always had a pretty good setup for us. So we weren't too worried about it. Players went in to dress. We followed them in, and we look, and there's no chalkboard, no dry erase board. We can't figure out what's going on here. So I tell Coach Dave, I said, Coach Dave, I'll go out here and ask the Lake Wales coach if he can supply us a board that we can write our info on, or our matchups and so on. He says, okay, I'll get these guys ready. So I go out, and I probably took a little longer. I couldn't find the Lake Wales coach. I'm looking around, and he's nowhere to be found, so it's getting pretty close to game time. We've not addressed the players or talked to the players yet. So I go back in, and I walk into the locker room, and the locker room's empty. Nobody's in the main part of the locker room. Well, I look around, and I hear Coach Dave's voice coming from the back by the restroom area. So I walk back around to the restroom, and there's Coach Dave. He had found a piece of chalk. He had our offensive assignments written on the stall door to the toilet on one door. On the other door, he had our defensive assignments and our motivational stuff. He had the kids over in front of one. He swung it open. They looked at our defensive assignments. He shut that. Okay, move over here. Here's what we're going to do offensively. Always very resourceful, Coach Dave.
I remember the first time I met Coach Dave. I was a freshman at George Jenkins High School over in Lakeland, and Coach Dave, he was a man of few words, but when he said something, you know he meant it. Coach Dave came into the gym because, from what I was told, I didn't know at first, but Coach Dave had another job working at the 7-Eleven. So after he'd get off work at 7-Eleven, he would come to the gym, come to practice. And Coach Dave never missed practice, never missed one practice. He'd get off work and come to practice. You know, and I would admit I was one of those guys, because Coach Dave would get on me, and you know, I wanted a break. So I was hoping Coach Dave didn't show up, maybe one practice, but he never let me down. He was always there. And but that taught me a lesson, you know, that, you know, Coach Dave is dedicated, and he's a man. He taught me how to be a man. Like I was saying, when I first met Coach Dave came in the gym, and he didn't even speak to me. He just walked in the gym and he said, "Can you play?" And I said, "I think so." And we'll see. So, you know, he'll get on me every now and then about just putting the ball in the hole. Put the ball in the hole. That's all he always told me. Put the ball in the hole. You know, go up strong and put the ball in the hole. And that's what I tried to do. And I remember when I was playing, for some reason, every game I would start off the game stinking it up. I would shoot the ball all over the basket, would never make the basket. For some reason, that's just the way I started off the game, like the first minute or two or whatever. And I hear the horn, and I knew it was for me to come out the game, and I look up, and I can see Coach Dave just staring at me from the time that I leave the floor all the way to the bench. He would just look at me, and he'll just sit there and just stare at me. And then I'll kind of slowly turn and look at him, and he'll be staring at me, and he'll say, "You ready to go?" And I would say, "Yes, sir." Get back in the game. So I'll get back in the game, and you know, I just start playing. He just wanted me to play hard, and he knew I loved the game. I just miss having Coach Dave around, and I love Coach Dave, and he taught me how to be a man. He taught me integrity and things of that nature, and no one deserves this more than Coach Dave. Love you, Coach Dave.
My name is Harrell, and I first met Dave in 1965. So the outdoor basketball courts at the old Plant City High School, which I think is Tomlin now. And we've been friends ever since then, going to like hundreds, and if not thousands, of different sporting events, especially football, basketball, baseball. We're both big Gator fans, and for almost 50 years now, we've gone to every home game and a couple of away games. Like I said, the first year I refereed for Dave, and it was either the second or third year. We was getting ready to form it again, and we was at the gym, and I looked over in the corner, and there was a group of boys there. And if you've had sons or been around boys long enough, you realize that 11 to 12, 13 years old, they all develop differently. Some 13-year-olds are shaving. Other kids, can't quite tie their shoes yet. But Dave walked up to me and said, "We had a bunch of kids left over this year, and we had more people than we expected. Would you mind coaching this year?" And I said, "Sure, I wouldn't mind doing that." But then I told Dave, I said, "But Dave, I'm not going to be able to referee because that wouldn't quite be right, I don't think." So, Dave said, "No problem." He said, "I'll get someone else to referee. If I have to, I'll referee." And Dave and I, like I said, we've known each other for a long time, and we've developed this chemistry where we can just kind of look at one another and know what we're thinking. We looked over to the group of boys there, and like I said, they was playing soccer with a basketball and everything else. So I told Dave, I said, "You gonna referee, huh?" He said, "Yeah." And that's how Dave was. He was involved in everything, whether it was organizing it, officiating, refereeing, selling popcorn. So I said, I looked at the kids and I said, "Well, I'm going to need some help." Wink, wink. And Dave said, "Well, I'll help you out." So the whole season goes through, and I think we play about 20 games, and the season's over with. We're getting ready for the tournament, and Dave and I are together at the gym, and Dave walks up and says, "Boy, your kids really improved this year." And I said, "That reminds me," wink, wink, "I thought you was going to help me out here a little bit." He said, "Well, I did help you out." And I said, "Dave, we didn't win a ball game all year." I said, "Well, what did you do?" He says, "I kept some of those parents off of you." And Dave, I just wanted to say congratulations on winning that Strong Leadership Award here for Plant City. You deserve it. as much as anyone I know. And I'm sure we'll be talking about it coming up on our trips starting here in a week or two. Thank you and congratulations.
I'm Gary Jordan, Coach Jordan, and I've known Dave since I was probably 12, 13 years old. When I first met Dave, I was playing basketball. I was a wannabe basketball player, wasn't very good, and over on the next court was some older guys, and I said, well, to get better, you probably need to play with those guys. So I look over there, and there's this one guy, and he's just bossing everybody around. Of course, you know who that was, Dave Robbins. You're on this team, you're on that team, that's your basket, and this is the score, so if you want to get better, you need to be friends with Dave. So that's kind of how we first met. We were playing one Saturday morning at the old high school, and somebody came in from the water fountain and said, "The police are here." Of course, we weren't supposed to be in there. We broke in, and we all ran south, hit that fence, over the fence. Everybody but Dave. And Dave was too slow, I think, to outrun anybody, so he knew he stayed back. And 4 or 5 minutes later, he hollers, "You guys gonna play ball or what?" And we went creeping back in there. He had stayed in there and convinced the police that it was okay for us to be there, so we continued playing, and wasn't long after that Dave got a key somehow, so it wasn't as much fun getting in the gym, but we had a key and we just opened it and continued playing. So Dave, congratulations, well-deserved honor here tonight. Not surprised. You are a leader. I mean, that's everybody that knows you has been around you all your life. And, proud to say you're my friend.
My name is Jack Holland. I'm Director of Recreation and Parks for the City of Plant City Recreation and Parks Department. I've known Dave since 1977 when I came to Plant City Recreation Department at the time as a college student, working part-time seasonal work, and met him during the basketball program. Working with Dave in the youth programs, it's been a pleasure to be beside him, knowing that he's helping not only the youth of our community but also our families, because with the youth we are making our future families of the area. Whether it be helping out with Stepping Stone Farm, or helping out running the basketball league as he does for our department, or doing all the different things he does, like cooking hot dogs for the Easter egg hunt. All these things are helping build community and build the youth of our area. And it's thoroughly been a pleasure to work with Dave doing that. Many programs are run through the Optimist Club. I've been with them for over 30 years now, and that's where I've really gotten to know Dave as far as the things that he can do for our youth and also our community. And whether it's providing scholarships for kids that can't afford it, or helping families that are in need during Christmas time, he really goes above and beyond to help this community and help out the residents of our area. Being alongside Dave has also shown that he fits into the focus of the YMCA through the youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility by all the activities that we've done. And as he would say, let me tell you something. Dave, this is a program that you're definitely ready to be honored for, and I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Dave Robbins gave his time over the past 50 years since I've known him for nothing but working with youngsters in the basketball field. And I think one of the things that I like to recall about him is that I got a call from a Plant City basketball coach about 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, and he asked me to come over and say a few words to his summer program. He had about 150 kids there. So as I walked in, the very first person I saw, guess who? It was Dave Robbins, giving his time, volunteering for that summer program. And I mean, it went from 8 o'clock in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. And not only that, but I'd go to the concession stand, and guess who was in the concession stand? No one but Dave Robbins' wife, and that was Doris. So it's amazing how much time, and wherever you would go at that time, where there's boys and girls, Dave was always there volunteering his time. And I really would like to thank him for the time that he spent with me when I was at Plant City High School as a head basketball coach from, I think it's from 1973 through, or 63 through 69. And Dave came in and he volunteered his time, free of charge, to be my assistant basketball coach. And we worked very hard and spent a lot of time working with the youngsters, and it paid off. In the second year that we were coaching together, we won a state championship up at Gainesville, and Dave was there, and Dave was as happy as I could ever remember anyone. In fact, I think he tried to climb the bull there in front of the motel room, and we had to get him off, of course. I bet you that there's hundreds or maybe even thousands of youngsters in the last 50 years that have gone through his programs, through the Civic Club or through the YMCA or through the time when he was helping me coach at Plant City High School. And all those times, it's been done free. It's absolutely for nothing, and it's amazing the hours that he's given. And not only that, but when I was at Plant City High during the football season, Dave Robbins couldn't stay still. He had to have something to do, so he finally asked me if he could take the concession stand operator. I said, "Boy, I'd give anything for you to do this." So Dave took that concession stand, and he made thousands of dollars for the athletic program at the old Plant City High School. So everything that Dave has done has been for youngsters. I would like to say this: if some of us had walked in Dave's footsteps for the last 50 years, we would see why that the YMCA selected Dave Robbins as the Strong Leader Award for this year. Dave, I'd like to thank you for the work that you've given to this community, and also I would like to give thanks to your wife Doris and your two daughters. I know they gave a lot of their time away from you, letting you work with me and for other people for the help of Plant City. So thank you very much, and I know that you certainly deserve this award.